Hey folks, your OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and quick review of two wireless FM transmitters. These can be plugged into any MP3 player or even a smartphone, so if you have music loaded on your phone, it transforms your car's radio and stereo sets into speakers for listening to your own tracks, which can be quite useful if your car doesn't already have some kind of wired connection. So you can see we have two versions here. The one on the right is a bit more compact, and they both sell on Amazon for about $15 or less, which are relatively inexpensive. And the technology behind here is something we've already seen many times here at OS Reviews. Essentially, it's almost like a mini radio transmitter. So it creates this radio broadcast, and when you're in the car and you tune to the same channel, you're able to listen to the music broadcasted from the unit and connect it to your phone or audio player. So we're going to take a look at the one on the right first. It's the smaller of the two. You can see it just comes with a user manual and the unit itself. That's basically it. It is quite small. It just plugs directly using a 3.5mm audio jack into your device and features a small LCD display that shows off the channel or the frequency so that you make sure that you can tune the car radio to the same frequency when you're listening to the music. Turn the unit on or off. It also uses a micro USB port for charging. Takes roughly 2 hours to completely charge, and afterwards it's going to work for, I would say, around 10 hours before you need to recharge it again. Some basic info about troubleshooting, and that's basically it. So here we have just the unit itself. It looks like it's protected quite well. So upon a first impressions perspective, it is quite shiny. It's made out of a plastic front and back, which is quite elegant. It's going to match the design language of some iOS and Android flagship devices quite well. The front also features capacitive controls for the tuning mechanisms, so changing the frequency, you just tap on these, and the screens could be on the center. We'll show you that later on when we actually power the unit and do a quick demo of how it works, but for now, just a quick look at the design. The micro USB port for charging and power is on the side there. The top features access to a 3.5mm jack. This is actually just a regular it looks like silver-plated connector as opposed to, let's say, gold-plated. So the connection isn't going to be the most secure thing in the world. The back just features the on-off switch. Something I will say about FM transmitters in general is that they don't produce the best audio performance in the world. So if you're an audiophile, even if your car's stereo system is amazing, just because of it's using radio technology, it's not going to be as clean or crisp sounding as a Bluetooth transmitter, which retails for a little bit more, and also not as great as a direct wired connection. So that's something to quickly note, but this is convenient, very easy to carry around. So the one on the left here, a lot larger in terms of the presentation. It's a more typical layout with regular keys and buttons, but it does include a micro USB cable as well that can be plugged directly into your car for convenience. And this one does have a gold-plated connector, so it seems like it's going to have slightly better audio performance despite a bulkier and more traditional design. It also charges up, USB port for charging a smartphone, GPS, or other devices. That's quite handy. And then some basic info about the manufacturer as well as the seller. So in here, we have just the unit, and there's also a quick start guide that shows you how to set things up, connect your phone, connect your audio product, and troubleshooting. So same thing going on. Over here, there is the wires for the FM transmitter. It seems like everything is already all connected, so it's just this one piece. A lot more wires going on, so a bit more easy to tangle, but you can see here that's the size difference. The one on the left here, you can see the display also uses a typical LCD and has the keys, which are relatively tactile and responsive, has an interesting prism-like shape going onto it. Otherwise, it's fairly clean, also made out of plastic. It's a coarse material, doesn't attract too much fingerprints. We have the plug for your audio connector, so it's not built onto the top here. There's a micro USB cable for providing power, also for charging your device. So it allows you to charge your phone at the same time, and you plug this into a car cigarette lighter just to provide power for the FM transmitter. So it includes an extra micro USB charger that is wired in. Kind of interesting. So it's a charger and a FM transmitter, a added utility overall. So next I'm going to do a quick demo by plugging things in and showing you guys how you could start playing music when you are in a car. So here we have one of the FM transmitters plugged into a smartphone onto the headphone jack. Obviously the orientation here doesn't really matter as long as the phone recognizes that you have a headphone essentially plugged in. So that's when you're ready to go, you can start playing back a song or some kind of podcast on your phone. On the transmitter's part, you can then turn it on. There's a switch switch on the side there, and you can see that it's going to light up with a channel number along with battery status. The battery on here is actually pretty good. I charged this once and then used it for about a week, sporadic usage in between, and I still had a bit of battery left. Afterwards, it also displays you the channel, so you can see really quickly, what channel you should turn your radio to match that frequency and listen to that song. So that is going to work with essentially any radio, not just in your car, but if you have a smaller radio, perhaps for use inside the house, some kind of MP3 player with a radio built in, it's also going to work with that. As long as you turn it to the correct channel, you'll be able to listen to your music wirelessly, which is pretty cool. And you're also able to navigate by using the click keys on the left and right to get to the correct channel or change the channel if the current one has too much static or distortion, because let's say a radio broadcasting station has the same frequency and it's disrupting your music. You can get it to a more custom one. So it works fairly well, and the experience is as expected. Not as great as a typical Bluetooth receiver, but still pretty good. And if you're just listening to quick music tracks with friends and family at a party, a larger room, or again in the car, it's more going to do the trick. And I think that both of these options, which essentially have the same music quality, are all both worthwhile options to check out. So you can learn more details about both of these FM transmitters in our official written review, but for now, this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS.